One thing about Juanita, she loves to write. She writes beautiful, so she always had little notes for me. And this one day, she had called me earlier to tell me, Mom, I wrote you a note.
I had found out when I was around 13, 12 or so, my mom had told me he was not my real dad. They just wanted him to be a role model.
So when I got home from work, I walked in and realized I needed to go turn in some videos. And I said, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go turn these in and I'll be right back. And she goes, Mom. She followed me to the car. She goes, here's my little note, but don't show anyone. And I looked. At that moment when she told me, my stomach sank.
It was a few months later when I had told my mom through a letter that I was sexually abused by my stepdad. Micah, she'd grown up with me since I was little. I had met her like around 6 or 8 or so. We were little and we used to play and hang out and play basketball and tag and hide and seek and stuff. And one day I just knew I had to tell someone because I just didn't feel like playing tag anymore. I was just tired and she knew something was wrong with me, so she took me to my room and we were in there and we were talking. And I just started crying and she'd asked me what's wrong, and I told her, and she started crying with me, and she's like, well, why don't you tell your mom? And I told her I couldn't because I just didn't want to disappoint anybody or hurt anybody's feelings or anything.
Her world had been turned over many years that I had no knowledge of at all. I was just totally blinded and didn't see any of this. And started at 5. And I remember things of her period at 7 and at 9. And we thought it was just her period. And then it stopped. But it wasn't her period. It's the time that he would do stuff to her.
She used to like talk to me and ask me if anybody was touching me, if I was okay and stuff, and I wouldn't tell her the truth. I would just be like, I'm okay. I just didn't want to tell her the truth. I knew I had to, I just didn't want to hurt her.
But if I told you the truth, it was going to be my fault. Because that's what was being told to her. You'll have no family, your mom will, your brothers won't have a dad, your mom will be divorced and nobody's gonna love her, and you know, you're gonna be a bad girl and she's gonna be mad at you. And just the fact that she says, I just didn't want you to be mad at me. But that's what was hurting her more, because I didn't like her. We were really, really close.
A person that she trusted, a person that she loved, a person that she cared for. You know, there was a child who was unfortunately manipulated and made to feel, you know, horrible.
A lot of times TV and movies portray abused children as poor or of a different class or something like that, and that's not the truth.
Over 90% of the children who are being abused are not going to be abused by a stranger. They're going to be abused by someone they know. 1
in every 4 girls and 1 in every 6 boys will be sexually abused by the time they're 17 years old. There is a crisis in our country, in our state, even locally in our city. In 2007, we conducted a little over 430 forensic interviews and over 1,300 therapy sessions with our children. And that's, for our population, that is a lot of children.
Only 1 in 3 children are going to report child abuse. And therefore, we're only catching 33% of the children that are being victimized out there.
I think it's one of the worst cases I've ever dealt with. But in that time, it's also one of the ones that I've worked closest with for the longest amount of time. since Mom did everything that she needed to with us, we saw Juanita every week. We saw her go from that timid, scared child to that outgoing, how you doing, girl. And I mean, that is an amazing feeling.
But when a child is abused, the sooner you can offer that support and that help, the better. Because you get to reach that child when they're ready to heal.
Suspect abuse when you see frequent injuries such as bruises, cuts, black eyes, or burns without adequate explanations, passive, withdrawn, and emotionless behavior, evidence of injury to the genital area, fear of a particular person or a certain sex, sexually suggestive, inappropriate, or promiscuous behavior, sexual victimization of other children, child left unattended for long periods of time, obvious malnourishment, severe depression, anxiety, or aggression, caregiver who belittles child, withholds love, and seems unconcerned about child's problems.
When I first walked through Harmony Home, I didn't expect it to be like that. I just thought they would tell me, do this, do that, do this, because that's how I thought a counselor would be. But at Harmony Home, they were really sweet, and they, when I first went, they gave me little gifts and little stuff, and I loved it.
They were so welcoming. They held our hand every step of the way and did not let us go. We needed something, we needed to talk, we just picked up the phone and we called them.
I felt relieved when I had told everything. I had felt like I laid everything down on the table, and it was sad, but I knew it was time. And now I have a wonderful family. My mom had, after the whole situation, she had got remarried, and I love being with my family. It's something different. I was really never having a dad. It was different because I didn't have a role model that I wanted. I had my mom, but not a dad, and now I have that. And that's what's so important to me now, is I have a dad that, loves me and wants to take care of me. He shows me he loves me without having to make me want him to love me. A real dad isn't supposed to manipulate. He's supposed to be there just to be a role model and show you love.
Please report any suspicion of abuse to the local police department or Child Protective Services immediately. It is a Class B misdemeanor for failure to report child abuse. If you have any questions, please contact Harmony Home Children's Advocacy Center, 910-C South Grant, Odessa, Texas, 432-580-5233. Or you can contact us by our website, www.harmonyhomecac.org.